Aloha everybody, this is Gigi from Kauai Community College. In this video, we will be talking about increasing, decreasing, and relative max and min. These are terms that relate to functions. Okay, so let's get started. Couple of definitions. Increasing, what does it mean to increase? Suppose you have a function and a function goes over an interval I, okay? So the interval goes from here to here, as you can see on an open interval. This function is increasing on the open interval I, provided that for all a and b in this interval. So if you just pick an arbitrary a and an arbitrary b in the interval, okay? If b is greater than a, which is in this case because b is to the right of a, and then here is f of a, here is f of b. What do you notice? F of b is greater than f of a. Okay, in other words, if we are moving along the x-axis from left to right, the function is increasing like that, meaning it is going up. So that is why the definitions say f of b has to be greater than f of a, given the fact that b is greater than a. Okay, similar idea. What does it mean to be decreasing? Well, the other way around, right? So from left to right, you would see that the function from left to right, here's f of a, here is again f of b. F of b is going to have to be smaller than f of a when b is greater than a, so that the function going from left to right, the function value is decreasing, is getting smaller. All right, now if it's not bigger and it's not smaller, it must be the same. And that is what we call a constant function. A function is constant on the interval I. Again, you have an open interval I from here to here. And f of a is always equal to f of b. So this function is constant. Going from left to right, it is not going up or down. All right, so that's what it means to be increasing, decreasing, or constant over an open interval. Here is an example. Okay, so suppose you are going from left to right here, and you would say, well, from negative infinity to say -1. The function is not going up or down, not increasing or decreasing, meaning f of a is always equal to f of b, so that function is constant over the interval negative infinity to -1. All right, here from -1 to 1, when we are moving from left to right, the function is going down, so that is decreasing. Same concept. This function is also decreasing from 4 to infinity. When you are moving from 4 to infinity, that is always also decreasing. So we will use the union here to denote the fact that the function is decreasing in between -1 and 1, and also from 4 to infinity. From left to right, again, going from 1 to 4, from 1 to 4, right? From 1 to 4 over this open interval here, from 1 to 4, your function value is going up, so that is increasing. So your function is increasing from 1 to 4. Now, when talking about increasing or decreasing, meaning if you have a function that is increasing and then decreasing, what do you notice? You have a peak. And that is what we call a relative maximum. So f of c is a relative maximum if f of c is always greater than f of x for all x in the interval. Okay, now if f of c is less than all f of x in that interval, then we call that a relative minimum on that open interval I. Okay, so that's a lot of words, but picture is worth more than 1,000 words here. Let's take a look. Okay, as you can see, here is C2. Here is f of C2. F of C2 is a relative maximum, and it occurs at x equals C2. Okay, so that's how we would say that. The function value is the relative maximum, and it happens where the x value is, right? All right, or we can say at the point C2 f of C2. But I think the main point we want to get at is f of C2, the function value, is the relative maximum. Likewise, f of C1 and f of C3 are your relative minimum over an open interval, say somewhere from here to here. Okay, over this interval here to here. Now, what do you think about the actual maximum or minimum over the whole entire domain of this function? Right? Looks like this function has a domain of negative infinity to positive infinity, meaning over the whole entire domain. Does this function have a maximum or a minimum? And it looks like f of C1 is the absolute, that's what we call that, the absolute minimum, because it's over the whole entire domain. Some people would call that the global minimum, and that works too. I kind of like calling that the absolute minimum, just so that we know that's absolutely the lowest point of the function over the whole entire domain. Okay? Up next in the video, you will have piecewise functions.